Here we are then, Singapore Grand Prix, round number 16 of the Ferrari Road to Glory. We're back in the red and yellow for this one and for the next couple of rounds as we basically look to try and hopefully take a step closer towards the championship. If you haven't seen the last episode, guys, where we raced in yellow in Monza in Ferrari's home race, check it out, link in the top right before we jump into big spoiler warnings. So we have a few things to get through on the agenda, and we have upgrades to also take care of, starting off with the plank arriving along with the general wear upgrade from Ferrari's HQ. We're going to go ahead and add to that by doing a ECU upgrade, which is going to improve fuel efficiency, as we have a massive discount on that, along with also adding tyre blankets, which are going to improve tyre wear as we are towards the bottom on the chassis. That's going to help us out a little bit and move us off the foot of the table. Now with that, we move into the weekend at Singapore, starting off with confirmation of a rule change planned for season 2 or next season, so we'll keep an eye on that and see exactly what is in store. We then move into more updates, starting off with the weather forecast, and we have rain forecast for the end of the race. So interesting, we've had a bit of rain here and there, and lately we're going to have possibly some more in this race towards the final part, so that could be very spicy. We then look at the confirmed upgrade, so along with the plank and also the general maintenance, we have the ERS which did arrive, which we just purchased, along with also the tyre blankets and also a prior upgrade for the control electronics. So 5 upgrades on the car this weekend, 3 for outright performance and 2 for reliability, which means we move up the table along with other teams and kind of keep that development chart moving upwards. The big one really is Alpine and Williams closing the gap to Haas and us as well. We stay in 5th place. Mercedes are now the top team on the grid in terms of performance, so they're very strong heading into these final few races of the season. But before we jump into the weekend, guys, I want to quickly make an adjustment on the engine. We're running very light on certain components now, and there could be a grid drop at some point. Now my intention, because we have a pretty good lead in the championship, is to try and wrap up the championship before we have to take the grid drop, which is what I want to try and achieve. The gearbox is the main one that concerns me because we're on our last one and it's already 35%, so we still have 7 races to go, which is a hell of a lot, including sprint races as well, so there's going to be a definite gearbox change down the line. We jumped into practice and we had extremely good tyre wear. Mainly the fuel consumption was the issue we had to kind of manage in this one, so we'll bear that in mind for the setup. We finished practice in 13th, Leclerc in the top 4, McLaren leading the way, and as always we get a healthy amount of R&D points, discounts, which hopefully we can apply at the start of the next episode. And like I said, just try to get closer to that championship. Now we've got a very good lead. The last race wasn't great. We took an L, we scored only a couple of points. Leclerc won the race, Verstappen also scored some decent points, and they both cut down the gap. But we still have around a 50-point margin, so we have 2 race wins in hand. It's a 23 race season, this is round 16, so we're on course to win this for round 21, maybe even around 20. So yeah, here we go then, qualifying time, helmet on, it's time to go racing under the lights in Singapore. Soft tyres on for our first timed lap, which was actually not bad, pretty decent lap. The only mistake really was the hairpin, as we did not get anywhere near the apex, but that's not really a huge error because you can kind of take different lines through there. Either way, closing out the lap then, we're going to see what we do as a banker. For the final corner, 6th gear, throwing the car in, carrying good speed across the line, setting a 1:28.0 and P4 provisionally. We went back to the pits and you can see we are currently a 10th.5 off Hamilton in P1. The big deficiency is Sector 1, so we're going to have to look to try and find some time. We're purple in Sector 2, even with that slow hairpin, so it's mainly the first sector, and maybe a bit in Sector 3 as well we can try and find, because that's where there's probably some more lap time as well. So here we go, let's get into it. 30 seconds on the clock, and we are going to go for our final attempt. When our P5 as Perez moved up to P3 as well. So here we go, starting off with turns 1, 2, 3, they hit you straight away, braking at about 70 meters. 4th gear, use the curb on the right to open the left, and then again use the curb on exit to get the drive, and we find 2.5 tenths straight away. Now into turn 4, just clipping the inside curb using all the track on the left up to the barrier, and we're 3 tenths up in Sector 1, and that automatically gets us in the ballpark as lap times are tumbling and other cars are going quicker. checkered flag drops and we find a bit more time there through turn 7, now through 8. Just literally finding time everywhere. There's obviously track evolution, but we're really carrying speed and we are committing big time to this lap. Hamilton, Russell, Norris all in the 6s, I believe. So right now, with a 0 to our name, we are on course for a 5. So that could be pole for us. So we're going to see through the hairpin where we ran wide last time, we find a 10th or so. And we're looking in good condition here to close the lap out as we go purple in sectors 1 and 2. Through turn number 13, I believe, onto the new back straight. Still keeping our advantage over 6/10 as we now head into this final chicane to close out the lap, braking at about 80-90 meters. 4th gear, clip the curbs, run it up to the barrier as always. Losing a little bit of time there, and now through the final corner, also just losing a little bit there as well. Across the line we go, but it's pole position as we get a 1:27.418. A very good lap, very clean lap, no mistakes. We found time pretty much everywhere bar sector 3, and yeah, overall a good lap. To note, Leclerc 8th, Verstappen 5th, our nearest rivals in the championship. Norris, Russell, Hamilton, all in the 6s, getting ahead of our title rivals, and that is big for the championship. So guys, let's get into the main race. There could be rain as well. Let's see what happens. It's time for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix. Here's the track, and it's all changed for 2023 with 4 corners removed between turns 16 and 19. It means the lap length is now just over 3 miles, and that might come as a welcome relief to the drivers, and more especially their brakes. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Martinez lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Albon, Magnussen, Joe, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Bottas, Tsunoda, Leclerc, Stroll, Sargent, and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. I'm joined again today by none other than Natalie Pinkham. Tell me, Natalie, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between Grand Prix. You know a lot about how test drivers and race drivers go about their business. So how do these roles differ in your eyes?
Well, they say you learn the most when you're losing. So Mercedes had a full tutorial in 2022. I believe from that they will come back stronger and much more competitive as a result. They're not used to losing and they want to get back to winning ways. Ferrari will have been hugely disappointed with how their year tailed off after such a promising start in Bahrain. And as for Red Bull, well, they finished the year as they started, in dominant form. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to continue that in 23 as well. That means 3 teams at the front. That is going to make for incredible racing in 2023.
Here we go then. Time for the race. Time for the main event in Singapore. P1 after qualifying, a very good session for us. Everything went smooth. We found a good clutch lap at the end. And it's worth noting, Charles Leclerc is a few places down. He's not as close or as high up as us, so that could be huge for the championship. The last race, of course, didn't go well. That P8 finish or P9 finish didn't really help us in the championship, so we're going to get a chance to basically correct that wrong here today. So let's talk about strategy for this one, because that is going to be key. We have some rain at the end, which could make things very interesting. It seems like very quick and heavy rain arriving at the final part of the race. We're going to start on mediums and then move to hards. Should be a simple one stop and then an easy transition into the rain. Fuel wise, I'm running 0.3 of a lap extra. If we burn it up and run under, the rain should help us recover some of that anyway. So yeah, the key thing here is to hold on to the lead. I think the race pace is going to be decent, but I think we're going to be very similarly matched to everybody else. The qualifying was quite close, closer than I thought. I thought we'd actually dominate this weekend, and it hasn't been the case. So we've got to be alert, got to be ready on a street circuit, as Julian Palmer once said. But yeah, let's get into it and let's send it around here in Marina Bay. Prediction down below, guys, where we're going to finish. Like the video, subscribe, and let's get to it. Let's line her up. Everybody on mediums, barring Verstappen. So let's try and hold on to this lead and hopefully have a decent start. Right, let's get to it. Lights on, Singapore. And away we go. Quick 5 lights. Lando got a great...
We've reached a worrying level of wear on the internal combustion engine. Let's try and keep the revs down. Early upshifts, later downshifts, please.
Yep, Lando got a great initial launch, but then the second phase, he picked up wheel spin and wasn't able to get alongside us. Russell with the jump up into second, who's been very strong as of late. Norris down to third, Perez overtakes his teammate. Here comes Russell. So the AI running a bit of straight line speed by the looks of it, but we're going to defend from the silver arrow. And we'll hold on to P1 for now. Let's see if we can try and break a gap and break DRS by lap 3. That's going to be the objective. I want to see if we have that sort of pace. Also want to see if we get an update on Leclerc's status, of course. Leclerc and Verstappen are 2 title rivals and not even in the top 5 right now, which is huge for us. Let's try and make up for that Monza race, that deficit we had last time out. At the minute, feels like George is keeping pace quite nicely. And Norris is the one who's possibly falling back here. Using battery, but George is still catching. Let's get a head down on the second lap and try to really push a gap here. At the minute, unsuccessful. Russell is sticking with the pace. Norris about to be dropped. Perez has been dropped.
Okay, DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
So it's likely Russell will probably have DRS. I'm going to see if I can try and get the gap here. That wasn't a great turn 3. We're under no pressure on this straight. We've got a decent gap. We seem to have decent pace in sector 1. We've nearly got the gap to Russell. Not quite, but we nearly dropped him there. Going to go quicker again in consecutive laps, so it shows the pace we have. We're about to run out of battery, so we kind of have to drop him now. Oh, bit crossed up there. Back and getting loose. That could be a critical error. To be fair, Russell's not been very quick through there himself, but he still has DRS as we now run out of battery reserve. We'll see if we can drop him in sector 2. There we go. We've done it. Just. Probably still not out of the woods just yet. Russell might still close in on the straights, but we're just like a 10th quicker per lap than Russell. We can just edge away slightly. Russell back within DRS. He's not going anywhere. This could be a stint-long battle with him. Trying to see if I can save some battery at this stage. I reckon I've got the pace to stay ahead without having to burn any battery, so we're not going to try and pull away. We're going to just make sure we recharge a little bit. My rear tyres are getting hot. Gonna have to adjust the brake bias. Put myself under some big pressure now from George, so we just have to manage for the time being. We've got a bit of battery charge. May have to dip into a little bit here on the pitch straight just to stay ahead of the Mercedes. Just got to try and get those rear tyre temps back under control. Yellow flag. No idea who that is. We'll find out shortly if someone has indeed retired. Could be a safety car if it's a pile-up. It's a Red Bull. I think it's Verstappen. Verstappen's in the barrier. I don't think it's a retirement. No safety car or virtual safety car. Verstappen back underway, but that is Verstappen, and that could be his title hopes over with that mistake. My pace is not great at the minute. I'm trying to manage fuel a little bit. Norris is catching back up, so is Hamilton. It's going to merge back up, but I'm not happy on these old tyres.
Okay, be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip anytime now.
Russell tried going for it there at turn 3. Put his nose in. It backfired. Just not really happy with pace right now. We're not happy on these tyres. I don't mind the fuel dropping into the negative, especially if it rains. There's going to be 2 pit stops as well to help get some fuel back, but at the minute I'm just not happy with the car balance. I was happier on 55 bias, but that's making the rears overheat, so now the car feels a lot less sharp on the nose. It's a 4-way fight for the win. We might be in trouble here. We're going to have to use the batteries. Russell's going to have a lot of closing speed. We hold on for now. Well, we are under pressure. I'm using battery. I'm not really able to save fuel at the minute. This is legit struggle. I'm waiting for the pit stop.
We think we might see some rain. ETA about 15 minutes.
Okay, there's the first update. I'm going to stick to the strategy though. We're not going to box early. We're just going to stick with the plan. Another yellow flag. Further back. Piastri.
Okay, some information on Piastri. Okay, it looks like the problem's terminal. They're retiring the car.
Okay, no safety car. Don't mind it. Either way, we're going to continue on with our race. We've just managed to break Russell out of DRS there. I don't think he's pushing as if he were on an in-lap. I don't want to risk staying out. I don't want to get undercut by Hamilton, so we'll push. And we'll try and give it everything here. This outlap on the hard tire will be key to give ourselves a bit of breathing space. The question is, are we going to be in traffic? Here we go. Into the pits, do not speed. Nice and easy. Beautiful. Interestingly, they all stay out. I'm the only one that's pitting. Could the rain affect that? We'll find out. But split strategies is definitely a surprise. We're going to be in this traffic. I don't like the look of this. We're going to be at the back of this train. We better hope and pray all these cars pit in the next 2 laps.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Behind Leclerc. P14, P15, but we are in a lot of traffic. We need these cars to box and basically get out of our way, otherwise we may have just lost the win. Also, we didn't save much fuel in the pits either, which is a bit of a concern. Norris, Hamilton in the pits, Russell stays out, so we are going to see some movement. I think the pace has been good enough. I haven't used any battery. I'm in no rush to catch this train, to be honest, so I'm kind of waiting to see if some of them pit and get out of the way, like Leclerc and a few of the others ahead. So this will move us up quite a fair bit. Hamilton, Norris pit exit.
Charles is in for his stop now.
And we're still ahead of them both. Now the question is, where's Russell going to be at the end of this lap? I'm just going to use Stroll and Ricciardo as a chance to try and save a little bit of fuel. As we are quicker, but we're kind of stuck in traffic at the minute. This is a good chance to get the fuel tank positive again. We'll go for a little tactical lunge on Stroll here. A little bit deep, but we get it stopped just in time. And then we get DRS and Ricciardo to stop the car again. We can lift and coast. Russell will pit. So, will all of these guys as well. Let's get a slipstream here from Ricciardo to make up for lost time. Don't want to get re-overtaken by Stroll. Russell does pit. Perez, of course, on hards. Goes a bit longer and stays out. Right, come on, Daniel. Get out of the way, please. There we go. Well, that wasn't too bad, considering the amount of cars. You know, we rejoined behind. Russell, 2-lap pressure hard. But we're ahead. And back into net P1. And this time, no one's in my DRS. Norris has undercut Russell, and so has Hamilton, so we'll let them have their own race. Russell was the fastest of the 3, and he's behind them both, so that might well help us. Let's manage this race now until the rain arrives.
Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes' time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Okay, that's a little bit later than I thought compared to the previous update. Perez pits, so that gives us P1. He switches to mediums. Norris currently quicker than us and has managed to drop Hamilton. But yeah, at the minute, I'm keen to see when this rain arrives. 10 minutes though, that could be a very late switch. Let's try and push for our fast lap of the race. decent lap. Not super quick, but we've used the majority of our batteries. I don't know if that's going to be enough for the extra point, but that is my attempt, pretty much. Norris is really quick. He's putting the pressure on here. He's trying to get within my DRS. We're keeping him out for now. I'm trying to recharge some battery to just manage the gap. Verstappen takes away our fastest lap of the race. He's on a bit of a different strategy, of course, with that incident he had at the start of the race, so fresher tyres. We're managing to keep Lando at bay here. I've just picked up the pace a little bit more locked in. This is a real sweat session, this one, I'll tell you. I can't rest at all any lap. If it wasn't Russell in the first, then now it's Norris under constant pressure. One mistake and we're in trouble.
We're expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes.
Okay, that's sped up quite a bit. That might save us because we have burnt through our fuel reserve. So I'm currently now managing fuel again at the expense of our pace. So the rain could be interesting. Oh, here we go. Rain is falling just as Norris gets within a second. Too soon to make a decision here, so we're gonna...
Okay, be mindful of the conditions. The track's getting wetter. Recommend you stay out for now, though. We'll be much slower if we move on to inters this early.
We're gonna stay out, but my gut instinct, I think, would have been to maybe pit. If this feels like aggressive rain, the grip is fading quickly here. Very quickly. And we've just entered the first phase, whereas Norris has a bit fresher tyres, so he might just have the advantage at this stage. You can see he's close.
Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please.
It's going to be inters by the end of the lap.
There's a new strategy available on the MFD. Copy.
Yep, I think we should have pit. I felt like it straight away from the very first corner I did. It felt like there was no grip, and look at this, we're just going to lose so much time here. We're going to keep Lando at bay. Hamilton and Russell have got a dilemma here. Surely Mercedes have to stack. Leaving a car out is going to ruin one of their cars' races. Let's bring her in. Intermediates ready to go. Nice and steady on the pit entry. Oh my god, they're actually keeping a car out. Russell stays out. Wow, that's his race over. Mercedes have completely screwed Russell out of this race. We're going to box for Inter, and we're going to rejoin safely in net P1. So we survive the quick weather switch and the scare, but now we have to try and get this tyres fired up and hopefully find pace to manage the race in the last 5 laps.
Look after these tyres now. You want to finish the race on this compound.
Easy does it on the pit exit. Going to put the brake bars up to 57 as well, just to be wary of rear locking. The pit exit, weather's only going to get worse, but I think it's going to be inters to the end here. Oh, Norris with the dive bomb into the hairpin. We steer out of it and avoid the contact, or at least measure contact. But I feel a bit passive at the minute. I don't feel very quick or confident in these conditions. But AI definitely with the upper hand. Russell has lost like 7 seconds, 8 seconds, and ongoing throughout the lap. It's going to be about 10 seconds by the end of it. So he's going to feed out way back. 4 to go.
Okay, we've got 4 laps of fuel remaining.
This has turned into a bit of a classic. Such an intense race, battling Russell first, then Norris, and now the weather change. And we're still under pressure from Norris and Hamilton. Oh, Hamilton on Norris. That could give us a bit of a break, a bit of respite. Hamilton jumps into second. The veteran, the wily old fox. Although Norris fights back, and that is going to give us finally a bit of a cushion. Look at that. That's much more like it. No more mistakes now. Let's try and bring this home. Hamilton's bloody pushing here. Can't barely rest in this race. We're going into heavy rain. but the Inter's still clearing water. Hamilton trying to make a push for it. We're going to be okay. We've managed it well. And we've done it, especially with the worn out ICE. Let's bring it home now. Easy does it through the final couple of corners. And Verstappen not in the points. Leclerc running P11 also not in the points. This is huge for the title.
Thank you. I need a moment. Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
They've endured the harsh conditions here in Singapore then to pull off a spectacular win. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I love it when you go into a race day with no data from the weekend to fall back on. It's a real step into the unknown. Planning goes entirely out of the window.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
There we go then, race done at Singapore. Really tense race. Like for the whole 31 laps we had to be on it all the time. We was under constant pressure from George, from Lando, and then Lewis at the end. The rain, everything was just, you know, really kind of moving all at once. Either way, final results are in and confirmation. Charles Leclerc scores no points down in P11 after starting in P17, and Max Verstappen P16, big race for the championship. 78 points clear of Max, 84 clear from Leclerc, and then in the constructors, 84 points clear over Red Bull. So things are looking very healthy right now as we head into the final 7 races or so, if I believe my math is correct. So there guys, cheers for watching, appreciate it, like, subscribe, let's try to smash over 1,000 likes as always on this episode. And yeah, as always, a big shout out to the channel members for supporting all the content I make. Check the videos on screen along with my links down below guys for some affiliate codes. But yeah, cheers for watching and see you soon. Take care, goodbye.